Hey, folks, we're back, and poor Elmo. Nobody's safe these days. He got hacked and was made to say all kinds of mean and nasty things. But Lisa, let's jump to you right away. This feels like, to me, like every marketer's nightmare. Is this going to become commonplace?
Yes. You know, when you think about Elmo, he's lovable, he's furry, he's eternally 3.5 years old. The picture, the face of innocence in the cyberspace, he's been a force for good for Sesame Street since the 1900s. In recent years, he's become more cyber, obviously on X. But, you know, what happened was really shocking many people. I think Elmo's got about 650,000 followers on X. And the Sesame Street workshop that runs it was absolutely shocked. The Anti-Defamation League was shocked. Emma's account was hacked over the weekend. And it included a string of posts. They were racist. They were anti-Semitic messages criticizing the president, calling for the release of the Epstein files. I mean, it was really, really hot. And so now, while Sesame Street Workshop has addressed these, quote, disgusting anti-Semitic posts that were hacked, there's still screenshots out there. That's the challenge with things on the internet, is they can live forever. There's about 6 screenshots in total that are going around. Sesame Street says the account is now secure, but what it shows is no one is safe. You know, they went to something that is probably the essence of innocence on the internet and hacked it. Now, that also kind of reminded me of some of the Grok troubling posts that we've seen just a couple weeks after XAI put a hold on the X account because Grok went crazy posting similar messages. It posted an apology, but still.
But Grok wasn't hacked. There's a difference.
That's true. That's a good point. No, Elmo was purely innocent and purely hacked. Right. And it just goes to show that parents need to know cyber and kids, what parents need to do. And it's some of the basic things like multi-factor authentication. I don't know the specifics of what happened with Elmo's account, but it just goes to show that nobody's safe.
Well, should I jump in as the only person who's probably been personally targeted by the New York, Washington, what was it? The Wall Street Journal. If you go ahead, there's zero new to this. In the first place, kids who follow Elmo shouldn't be on Twitter anyway. They, like 13 years old. This is like, oh my God, Elmo. I don't think Elmo's the icon of innocence. I mean, Elmo was manhandled by a sexual predator for a while. This is not shocking in any way, shape, or form. But let's look at what happened. We're talking about the takeover of Twitter accounts, which is not new at all. When you go back and search for all the listeners while you're listening, Google Ivor Winkler, Syrian Electronic Army, and Cockroach. And you will see that the Syrian Electronic Army targeted me personally. I was told by the FBI they hated me more than Obama, by the way. And they hacked the Wall Street Journal Twitter feeds to call me a cockroach. They hacked BuzzFeed's Twitter feeds to call me a cockroach. Accounts which are much larger. They hacked the Associated Press Twitter feed at one point in time, saying that there was an attack on the White House, which moved the stock market. So what we are talking about fundamentally are attacks against personal accounts, and even the DoD accounts were hacked in the past. So what we are talking about is an identity compromise because of a lack of multi-factor authentication, sharing of accounts, and a bunch of other stuff. How Elmo was hacked, it's probably the same thing. They guessed the password or fished the password more likely, and were able to go ahead and hack. But the bigger lesson is not poor Elmo. I mean, anybody on Twitter who's looking at Elmo, you're not looking at him for serious, motivational, good, warm, fuzzy feelings in general. If you ask me, it's kind of a joke account. But it's just a sign that there are much more critical accounts. I mean, Trump is using Twitter as public policy, which to me is horrifying. But at the same time, his account was hacked in the past. You know, you had Biden's account hacked in the past. You had all these other people's accounts who were hacked. And we have to learn, yes, we need security, but we also need to learn, wait a second, what it goes on these accounts might not really be what is going on these accounts. And it requires public perception, public awareness that Twitter is not an authoritative source on that identity, even though you think it should be.
You mean if I don't pay Elon the money to get the check mark and everything, I thought if you did that, you are secure.
I can probably pay for a check mark and start an Alan Schimmel account for you if you want a check mark. And I'll be happy to tweet out.
I would disagree with Ira on one point. I think it might be helpful for adults to check in with Elmo every morning because, it just levels you out and maybe makes you a better person.
But let me ask you a question. So Elmo was a victim of abuse and manhandled. I thought it was Cookie Monster.
No, it was not.
It might have been the same one. That guy has two hands. Remember that.
No, I mean, look, this is, I filed this under why we can't have nice things, right? Whether you think Elmo should have an account and how much you believe in Elmo, Santa Claus, and the Tooth Fairy, the fact that, people will use these accounts to spout this kind of garbage, and like it or not, there are minors on the internet. They are on X, and they're going to see it. And, this is very nice people.
Hey, I guess that means you're not anybody till you get your account hacked. Is that?
I was hacked, Black Hat, 2005. Also anti-Semitic stuff, and it was pornography. It was all kinds of nonsense, and I had to get all my emails back. I know, Fred, you knew me then. You might probably remember.
Yeah.
What a pain in the ass that was. But anyway, it's not fun. It's not fun. And, I found out who hacked me, and he's in jail now, not for hacking me, but he deserves to be in jail.
Wow.
Anyway, poor Elmo, but look, Elmo, as Iris says, Elmo's really kind of the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah. Somebody better protect Big Bird. That's all I got to say.
And Grover. Let's not forget Grover.
Grover's awesome.
Poor Grover. All right.
I don't.
Guys,
more lessons from Oscar the Grouch, if you ask me.
Oscar was definitely a person. Guys, we gotta pull the plug on this great Friday. Lisa, thanks for joining in. I know you had some technical difficulties, and we appreciate you fighting through those. Rest of my gang members, enjoy the cool northwestern weather up in Seattle, out in the West Coast, or Lake Placid, or whatever you are. Mm-hmm. Of course, we're roasting here in South Florida, but we do have a full Tech Strong TV lineup immediately following the gang today. Check that out. We'll be back Monday with lots more new good stuff. Enjoy the weekend. We're out.